Yo, what's up? This is Sleet, and welcome back to another video on this channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the Champions League match between Olympique Marseille and City, and I just wanted to mention that I didn't put up a reaction to the West Ham game because I woke up really early to watched it, was annoyed with the result, fell asleep, and then I woke up in the late afternoon. It was already dark outside, so I didn't have any time to record really, and then I just kind of got busy. But I think that what went wrong in that game kind of explains Pep's changes and what went right in this game, and I think I'll mention it a couple of times while I'm talking over and discussing this game today. This City lineup was very different than the one against West Ham. We finally got to see Laporte and Diaz play together, which I was really excited to see, and I thought they did well. I know they've played together before, but now I think they're a bit more fit. Other noticeable people that came back into the team were Zinchenko and De Bruyne, of course, and I think what we saw from these people coming back was just a little more natural City play, if that makes sense. Traditionally we play with a DM holding and two midfielders who have energy to get forward, and that allows the wingers to get wide, and for those midfielders, our two eights, to get into the box, overlapping, and then cut it across for other attacking players. And we've been missing that recently because we've been playing this double pivot sort of system, and it can work. And I know we started with it today, but I think Foden being on the wing allowed for us to kind of play that system because he could come inside and play opposite to De Bruyne. So it was almost like having a four at the back and then two holding midfielders, two attacking midfielders, and two attacking players in Fran and Sterling. And you do get a natural width with Zinchenko playing because he's left-footed, and when you play on that side, you just are able to cross the ball in better and stuff like that. But I personally don't like Zinchenko that much. I don't think he's good enough to be in a top City team, but the statistics are there for him. He's played well, or he's been a part of teams that have gone in big win streaks for City. He's also did well today. I think as long as he's not being got at defensively, and Tovan for Marseille is a top player, and he was kind of kept quiet today. I think as long as Zinchenko stays close to people, he's okay, and technically he's very decent going forward because he is more naturally a midfielder. But with all of our defenders, at least on the left-hand side of defense, I think they struggle from a lack of pace, and he's no exception. So if there is a fast winger, I'd imagine a Zaha or somebody would tear Zinchenko to shreds. I think because he's not naturally a defender, he switches off sometimes and his concentration goes. But today he was solid, and you got to give these players credit. And I think the difference between today and against West Ham was just energy in the middle. Because we saw when Foden came on against West Ham, he created chances, he was breaking through the lines, and he scored a goal, pretty immediately. And that, I think the mistake against West Ham was Pep taking off Bernardo, because I could have imagined a Bernardo and Foden midfield having equal amounts of energy and being able to spread the creativity. And then you saw even more so when De Bruyne came on against West Ham, that same sort of thing happened. And today, when he played from the start, he just always creates chances, and he got 2 assists to show for it. Another concern for a lot of people is Sterling playing at striker. I thought he did decent today. I think he creates chances in terms of just his pace and positioning, and he doesn't always have to be the finisher as long as we've got other finishers available around him. Foden is a good finisher. De Bruyne is clinical on both feet. Mahrez, when he came on, he's also good at getting a finer killer pass or a goal or finishing chances. Of course, they're not on the level of an Aguero, but very few players are on that level in terms of just pure finishing. Anyways, now that I've gone over who I thought did well, I just want to go into the goals. I'm just going to go over the game. I did miss part of it somewhat because I was taking a quiz for a class during the game, and I was kind of half watching at points because I was in a class. But for the most part, I was paying attention to the game, or I had it on the side and was looking at it when I could, and I didn't miss any of the goals. I already mentioned the energy that City had today, and I think it was evident from the very first moment of the match. We just were all over them, and even when we weren't creating chances, we were holding possession better. When they were getting forward, Laporte and Diaz have such composure, and they dealt with any issue that came near them, really. And that energy forced Marseille into some mistakes. They struggled to get out of the first half, and that saw us score our first goal because one of their players won the ball back. I think it was a bad pass from either Torres or from Foden or somebody, and they got the ball back. But then because of the press, he ended up giving the ball back. I think it was either to somebody before De Bruyne or straight to De Bruyne, and De Bruyne took it very well. He kind of lined up his body as if he was going to shoot, which the defender, I think the defenders for Marseille should have known better. He was very wide to take a shot, but I think he fooled at least the closest defender to him into thinking that. So as he was coming around, he was like shaping his body for that, and that allowed De Bruyne to have the space to just smartly cut it back. And Torres, it was a good finish with Mandanda like rushing out to him, but he just tucked it in. And we looked solid at the back. We brought that lead in the halftime, and then we continued. Marseille were forced to come out of their like shell a little more. They were really defensive at the start, and they weren't really good at it. So it made sense for them to kind of get more out of their shell and try and push forward to at least get something from the game. But in doing that, you of course leave space in behind for City, and that resulted in City getting more chances and being able to cut in behind. The second goal, I don't remember who hit it over the top. I was in the middle of like leaving the class, so I missed just like the opening part of this play. I believe it might have been Rodri. Just a shout out to Rodri anyways if it wasn't him. Great long passing today. He kept finding people. When Mahrez came on, I remember a couple of times he pinged it to him, and he's really good at that, like switching the play diagonally. But anyways, the ball came over, I believe, to Sterling, and Sterling headed it back across the goal. It bounced off Varane, I think, so it might be Varane's assist. And then it like just fell kindly to Gundogan, who tapped it in. It was very deserved though. Like, I know it's somewhat lucky to just fall to our player like that, but we were on top of them, so we deserved to get the lead and a further lead. Sorry for the poor lighting. As I mentioned, I was in class, and like, I couldn't have done it anyways because of the game going on so late, but it's pretty dark here, or late, and it's like winter time-ish, so it's starting to get darker every day. It was a quality finish from Gundogan. I thought he was decent for most of the game. He didn't really have to do too much, but I thought, as well as Rodri, they're able to find good passes to more attacking players. Like, they themselves don't seem good at creating like assists sort of situations, but I think that they're both able to find good passes that allow for other players to get assists. And I think it showed with how much more energy and like runners we had today, the benefit of them, because in the past when they play together we lack creativity and energy, and I think with just relying solely on Bernardo to create things, with those two in behind, we were really struggling, and Sterling was struggling to get as many chances, and so was Mahrez. But today was more spread out, and there was a lot more to worry about in terms of running. The third goal might be a little contentious. I thought it was offside. I'll get into that part of it after I go over what happened. So it was Mahrez who was very lively when he did come on. I think he needed that rest that he got. He's been playing a lot recently. I think Walker also kind of needs a rest, but I thought he did well today, and he looked like his normal energetic self, so maybe he's okay. But I thought Mahrez has looked a little lackluster in terms of ideas. And with somebody of that quality, you normally just need to take them out for a little bit, give them some time, and then put them back in. And with somebody like that, like I mentioned, with so much quality, he can just come on and create things right away. And that's what he did. He came on, he was getting the ball, his touch was really good. Did a really nice reverse pass to De Bruyne. And De Bruyne, what I liked about this so much was De Bruyne looked over his shoulder, saw where Sterling was, and then looked back to the ball in like a very, very short amount of time. Like, the defenders were still adjusting to where he was, and he was already knowing where he wanted the ball to be. And that's a really important thing in a midfielder. Of course, he's probably the best midfielder in the world, but that just evidenced it. You can see that in all the great midfielders of all time, Lampard especially. There's a great clip of him, like his head is just on a swivel, and that was what De Bruyne did here. Saw Sterling over the shoulder and reversed it to him. It was an easy tap in for Sterling, but the quality of that pass has been missing in our team, and that run from De Bruyne has also been missing. Like, other players in our team just don't make those runs. Bernardo hasn't been making it. Mahrez is the kind of player who finds them rather than makes them. And I thought it is an easy finish for Sterling, but it's good for him to get his confidence back. And I think just having the 2 assists from De Bruyne, technically having a goal and assist from Torres, shows that we just need to switch things up a little bit in the attack. And maybe we need to find a little more consistency with our back line. I think we've had like 7 or like 6 different center back partnerships. And I know that's down to injury to an extent, but it's really useful when you can have 2 guys develop a partnership and stick together and be strong for a whole season. And I really hope Laporte and Diaz are able to do that. I thought Stones looked really comfortable when he came on. He was being instructed a lot by Diaz, but I thought he looked good. And you can't fault him. I thought he was good against Wolves as well. And in my opinion, I know a lot of people were angry with Garcia at the weekend. I also do not want to see him play, but I saw people defending him in terms of Well, he didn't make any mistakes, so he wasn't really bad against West Ham. I disagree for a couple of reasons. One is that when you lack pace, the way that Diaz does, your team defensively has to sit back further, and that allows for crosses like the one that Antonio scored from to be more dangerous. If they're crossing that ball and you're like 10 yards further up the field, if Antonio wants to get onto something, he either has to time a run really well, or he simply just doesn't get that chance because he'd be offside. And what you do from dropping back allows the other team to come onto you and invites pressure. And that's what Garcia is in the Premier League, at least. Maybe in other leagues he wouldn't be caught out for this as much. But when you know somebody is so physically incapable, your team and the defenders around him are forced to kind of make up for his like deficiencies, and that leads to a lot of mistakes positionally from other players and leads to issues. And I think that's part of what happened, is that you had to sit back. I think it was a handball from Suchek. But when the cross comes in, the team isn't pushed forward, and we're naturally not as high as we normally would be against West Ham because of because of Garcia's involvement. Also, his speed of passing, I think, is worse than Stones. Like, I'd much rather Stones had played in that game, because Stones is able to create chances and cut through the lines, as poor as he can be defensively sometimes. Going forward, you can't deny that he's technically amazing for a center back. Anyways, I think that Guardiola learned from our poor showing at Porto, despite the win, and our poor showing against West Ham, that we need a little more energy. We need to go back to our normal system, play our 4-3-3, and have those exciting, more attacking midfielders. The creativity and mobility of players like Bernardo and De Bruyne and Foden, mixed with more attacking directness from somebody like a Mahrez or a Ferran Torres from time to time, can really be successful. But ultimately, I think this 4-2-3-1 thing that we've been playing, we need just a more mobile midfielder than Gundogan or Rodri next to each other. Both of them together aren't great enough, and despite playing well together today, I think that was because every other attacking position had pace and energy. You couldn't have played Mahrez today and expected a similar sort of thing until you also had another more attacking midfielder. I thought having Bernardo on allowed for Mahrez to then go on and do well. He's given more freedom and license to take a player on one-on-one when the other defenders are being occupied with other fast attacking players who they're actually worried about. I think any defender would naturally, you'd be a little more afraid of a Bernardo running at you who's got the dribbling power than somebody like Gundogan, who you know if he tries to run around you, you'll beat him for pace most of the time. Ultimately, I think that was our best performance of the season. I hope Pep sticks to something similar. Jesus coming back soon, in about like a week or a week and a half, should also add a little more to the team. Having a more clinical, out-and-out striker will help players like Sterling and Mahrez get more chances as well, and it will allow Bernardo to drop back, Foden to drop back from these wing positions, and that gives us a lot of options in the middle, and it gives us a lot more of a mobile midfield. Anyways, that's it for today. I'm sorry about it being so dark. Just as I mentioned, the game was on late, and it just contributes to the sun being down and me recording at a later time, and so on and so on. But I thought City's performance, because it was so good, just deserved a quick little video. I hope it's not too long, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. If you did enjoy the video, leave a like, comment if you disagree with anything I said, if you have any thoughts on the game. If you're a Marseille fan, what you thought about the game. I'm very curious, because I know Porto fans thought they deserved to win the City game, or they were like hard done by, which is just ridiculous. Subscribe for more soccer or football related content. I put these videos out whenever I can. I am not the most free person, but when I am not busy, I enjoy making these. Anyways, that's it for today. Thank you all for watching. This has been Sleet, and I'll see you later.